Cafe Anyway. Here we are.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2461, 2461. I'm Mike Matthews, your host for a show that is entitled Mike's Daily Podcast. I've been doing this podcast for a while and it's been fun. And you know what? It won't end. It's not done. It keeps going on and on and on. But you know what? Here's something, son. And that is, occasionally, this podcast points out things that you might find amusing. Mike's Daily Podcast. Possibly helpful information I'll try to bring to you on the show called Mike's Daily Podcast. Here we go. Yeah! This is very interesting that the United States has successfully tested a Raytheon. I used to work close to Raytheon. Aren't they in Thousand Oaks or in that area of the Conejo Valley? I used to work in the Conejo Valley at a radio station called KNJO. Conejo is the Spanish word for rabbit. A rabbit. And rabbits are cute, yes. But it was a very easy listening music station. You're listening to KNJO 92.7. And it was... I'm sorry. When I do that, I just sound like a older, breathy woman. It's weird how that comes out. Hi, I'm Matilda. Welcome to our nighttime. What's Desdemona? It's not Desiree, is it? It's that lady that you hear all over the place. And she has that kind of voice. Anyway, Cafe Anyway, that's how I have these things. I look at these things kind of strangely, but Raytheon used to be down the street. Anyway, Cafe Anyway. Oh, it's the podcast picture.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Yes, what will this picture be today? I guess it...
All right. I'll go with this one kind of interesting photo. I have no idea where this picture was taken. But it's rather nice. I don't even know if I took this picture. Oh, yes, I did. This is over in Niles. That's it. See that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. The late, great Basil the Boxer, he and I went to Niles. That's not too far from where I work. It's a nice little area. Old town type place. It was the guy... Charlie Chaplin. They filmed a lot of his movies there in the early days. Okay. See that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. We were remembering the late great Basil the Boxer yesterday. Got a picture of him as well, you can see. Gusto was the name of the last podcast. And you can see that picture of Basil the Boxer at mikesdailypodcast.com. 3 years ago. We lost him 2 years ago. We were kind of reminiscent about him. But back to what Raytheon's doing. They got this, it's called an air-breathing hypersonic weapon. It's capable of speeds faster than 5 times the speed of sound, making it the third successful test of that class of weapon since 2013. That's what the Pentagon said today. The development program for the Hypersonic Air-Breathing Weapon Concept, or HAWC, if you spelt HAWC with a C, is being run by the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, or DARPA. Both Raytheon and Lockheed Martin Corporation are competing for the ultimate contract award. Air-breathing vehicles use air captured from the atmosphere to achieve sustained propulsion. Different propulsion types work in the vacuum of space. There have been 4 air-breathing hypersonic weapon tests Since September of last year, Raytheon's product has been successful both times, and Lockheed had one successful test and one failure. The president of Raytheon's Missile and Defense Business Unit said that advancing our nation's hypersonic capabilities is a critical national imperative, and this was an important step forward. Having back-to-back successful flight tests, didn't think I was going to do it, did you? Gives us even greater confidence in the technical maturity of our Hawk prototype. You didn't want to name it Hawkeye after Alan Alda? Really? During the flight test after releasing Hawk from an aircraft and accelerating to hypersonic speeds using the scramjet engine, Raytheon said the vehicle flew a trajectory that engineers designed to intentionally stress the weapon concept to explore its limits and further validate digital performance models. The success marks the third successful test in a string of hypersonic weapons across different U.S. programs in development. The failed June 29th test flight of a different type of hypersonic weapon, the Common Hypersonic Glide Body, that happened at the Pacific Missile Range facility in Hawaii. The United States and its global rivals are increasing their pace to build hypersonic weapons, the next generation of arms that rob adversaries of reaction time and traditional defeat mechanisms. Hypersonic weapons travel in the upper atmosphere at speeds of more than 5 times the speed of sound. That's about 3,853 miles per hour. And that, according to Mike Stone, who wrote this for MSN.com. And that's right. Okay. I said MSN.com. I'm hoping that is correct. Reuters. Okay. As we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth.
Anyway.
Now, when you hear news like that, what do you think? Do you think it's fake? You don't believe it? Do you believe it? Do you think it's real? What's going to happen? Can things really fly that fast? Can diseases really make us sick? Do masks really protect us? All I can tell you is I know somebody right now who is triple vaccinated and is sick with COVID and is not doing very well. She's pretty sick. We thought maybe she'd recover after a week. She's still sick, and the outlook looks like she won't be better until maybe 2 weeks from now. So just be aware of that. I know you think it's all cool to be free and have masks, just rip them off your face and be, I am an American, I can do what I want. I can fly hypersonic, supersonic missiles. I'm Superman. No one's Superman. Be careful. Be careful out there. Now, Fauci announced today he is going to retire. 81 years old, Fauci. My mom hated Fauci with a passion. And she died just a few months ago. Did not die of COVID, but she hated Fauci. Oh, to her last breath, just hated him. And I could never understand that. I know it is part of the thing, the story, the trope on the conservative side to hate Fauci. Oh, he's putting all these restrictions on us. He's shutting down businesses. And they just, with a snap of a finger, ignore everything that he's ever done to help us. No, Mike, all the things that he's done to hurt us. There's a guy, I think, so he has a talk show on the radio, an hour-long talk show, and he spends the entire time just bashing Fauci. Just hates him with the I don't get it. Anyway, you got what you wanted. He's retiring. Be happy. But realize he is 81. And I know this one guy that just rails on him. He's an unhealthy, let's say he's an unhealthy 50-something, late 50-something. Very unhealthy. And I doubt he's going to make it as far as Fauci. Sorry to say, he, just want to keep your head in the ground and just ignore certain facts, certain things that we know that will help us live. Now, my mom thought, she's going to keep smoking and she'll live well into 100-something. No, not what happened. The things that ended up killing her had a lot to do with circulation, had a lot to do with all the plaque that her smoking caused. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I didn't do a diagnostic search. I have all of her medical records, and a lot of it I couldn't make sense of, but I do know over and over and over again the doctors told her, quit smoking, and she would not do it. She said, you know what, I hate you doctors, I hate you Fauci, I'll die on my own terms. So whatever, that's freedom, I guess, but I also have the freedom to try and be a little smarter than that. So meanwhile, Rand Paul, a conservative Republican from Kentucky, sometimes his line of thinking, he hates Fauci. Oh boy, does he hate Fauci. And it's just all those hearings where he just railed against him and did you not lie and don't you got stock in China and all that. Well, now Senator Rand Paul has blamed fellow Republican Mitch McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader, for the collapse of a deal with President Joe Biden to nominate a conservative anti-abortion attorney as a federal judge in Kentucky. They're both from Kentucky. And Paul accused McConnell of not consulting him in the effort to have Biden nominate Chad Meredith to fill a U.S. District Court vacancy in Kentucky's Eastern District. I support Chad Meredith and supported him when he was considered for a different position. I think he would make a good judge. Unfortunately, instead of communicating and lining up support for him, Senator McConnell chose to cut a secret deal with the White House that fell apart. As a result, Paul said he did not return Meredith's blue slip to the White House, effectively killing the nomination plans. This is politics, folks. This is what I do not understand. And wow, to have two conservatives be absolutely at each other's throats over this and secret deals. McConnell's to blame for tanking this because he tried to do it secretly. Paul's remarks exposed a rift between Kentucky's two Republican U.S. senators that spoiled a rare opportunity to get a conservative attorney nominated for a lifetime judicial appointment by a Democratic president. Interesting. Well, now, that's pretty much it. Just some fascinating stories to me today that I thought I'd share with you. Look who's here outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Hello, Michael Masters, Madame Rootabega. And I found that story very interesting. Ooh. Last night, my lovely lady friend and I watched a documentary about, I think her name was Rosaline Norton. Oh, wow. So she lived from 1917 to 1979, and she was bizarre. She was from New Zealand originally, and then was in Australia for most of her life. Sketched very controversial paintings that had to do with devils and all kinds of Greek mythology and Pan and people with horns and whatnot. And it's interesting because of the way Australia censored her and just sort of what was censored back then as to what is censored now. And she did this thing where, I don't know if this was the thing to do at that time, was she pulled out all of her eyebrows, her eyebrows, all the hairs, and then painted it in and made it look really scary, just the way. And she was called the Witch of King's Cross. Just very bizarre. So watch that. We watched that documentary. I don't know if that's your cup of tea, but some biographies. Now, that's one thing I share in common with my mom. Loved biographies. All kinds of people. Didn't matter if she agreed with them or not. She loved reading about them. Just all kinds of weird stuff. But yeah, she was out there. Rosalie Norton. And we watched that on the Amazon. As I said, the benefit of Amazon Prime is you get the extra, you get things like when you're getting things delivered to you, you get like the delivery for free, or you get discounts or whatnot. And this is not a commercial for Amazon. I'm just saying I'm getting sick of Netflix with them raising the rates. And Amazon, I say go look for streaming that gives you a wide variety of stuff to watch, and that gives you some added benefits. I think we just settle for Netflix when we shouldn't. Anyway, maybe you don't need any streaming. There's YouTube. There's all kinds of ways to learn things, to be entertained by things through the internet. Just don't spend all your time on the internet, please. But spend a little time to listen to the podcast. Is that what you do, Madame Rootabega?
Yes.
Do you know Rosalie Norton?
Yes.
Did you like her paintings?
No.
Yeah, it wasn't for everyone. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, New Zealand seems like it's an interesting country there.
Yeah, New Zealand. Do you know that? Do you know who's from New Zealand is Neil Finn from the band Crowded House? Don't dream it's over. Very interesting. I watched a thing about him. That song originally did not have all of the organ keyboards behind it, and it was in a different key, and Mitchell Froome, who was the producer, brought the key to a different, I forget if he brought it up or down, and Neil Finn was able to sing it better. I found that fascinating. There were some little changes done, and Neil said it was a little more soulful the way they ended up recording it as compared to the demo, which he said he wrote the song originally. He was at some party and didn't want to talk to all the people, so he went into a back room where nobody was and started playing on the piano and wrote the song right there. And when the world comes in, they come to build a wall between us. Don't let them in. That's what he was doing. He was trying to not let the people in and block them out. But it kind of has a lot to do with today, with the walls we build. And the weird the things that we don't listen to, the echo chambers and whatnot that don't allow us to actually learn things. There's all these tools that we can use to learn in today's world, and we block it all out. We build walls around us, and that ain't cool. Next show, it's going to be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer. Please tell me what you think about any of this. You can call me at 336-MM Daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM is the Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast tries to be. Sometimes gets interrupted.
Call now. 336-MM Daily.
And you can also email me, and more on that. Here's A. Frank.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!